class from where we have stopped in the previous class. We were talking about the table operations, particularly when two or more tables involved, and we are taking examples of two tables. It can be extended to many tables as well. In particular, we have looked at three operations: union, intersection, and then difference. So we will continue with that particular thing. But before that, I wanted to have an announcement for all of you. I'll send an email also that tomorrow we will be having an exam, first exam. And the exam will be in the Microsoft Forms, using Microsoft Forms, and then it will involve multiple choice questions. The questions, nature of the questions will be MCQ type, and the syllabus will be whatever that has been covered in the theory from the first class till whatever that we will be covering today. Any questions?
So timing is the class timing only?
Yes, class timing. It will be during the class hours. We will have this session and then it will be for 1 hour, 55 minutes. That's what is the thing. Any other question? Okay. If there are no questions, let me just also ask you, is there anything that is to be done with respect to the labs? Are you all able to keep the pace with the labs? Any specific concern? Okay, if there are no specific concerns, we'll proceed our discussion with today's class. Today class we will continue our discussion with the intersection. We already have looked at union of two tables, intersection and differences of the tables we have looked at. But this one I'll also tell you where we have stopped at the previous class with respect to intersection and differences. And then we'll take it forward from that. And then today we'll learn about more operators, cross product, joining of the two tables. And joining is of several forms that are there. All of world query using involving SQL, without which it will not be able to do this one, right? So from that perspective, this is the thing that we will look at. And where we have looked at last class is that the SQL query that we have written, it will work for those tables that do not involve duplicates. These queries certainly will work. There is no issue on that one. But then, but the question is that we have to handle duplicates, and then these queries will not be able to work in the presence of duplicates. That's where we will also look at how to go about how to modify these things in order to make it work for the case when we have duplicate rows. But to do that one, we need to have some more tools in terms of the operators. And therefore, we will continue our discussion with cross product joining of the two tables. When we complete all these join operations, we will revisit back to intersection and set differences, and then see that in the presence of the duplicates, retaining in the presence of the duplicates, how we can reformulate this SQL statement to find the intersection between two tables or set difference between two tables. And you will see that these are all the things that you will kind of visit in almost quite frequently in many queries. So we need to be aware of these operations, and hence it is important for us to understand at least one method, if not many alternative methods, right? So we will first start with the cross product, and this is where we will be departing from. This is what I wanted to say, that this is what we have looked at, that duplicate rows causes problems when we use in predicate, and we'll at least look at 2 to 3 alternative ways of implementing the intersect and sect difference. In MySQL, please understand that one. If you are using commercial available RDBMS systems, intersect keyword is available, right? Difference keywords, except keywords are available. You can perform these operations just like you have performed union operations. You just have to replace union with intersect and then union with except, right? So these are the commercial databases that supports these operations, but MySQL really does not support them. So we will be reformulating them in terms of the join operation, in terms of the nested queries, and in terms of querying on go methods. So these are the things that we will learn first, and then revisit the thing that we wanted to implement in terms of these operations. So first, cross product of the two tables. The definition is very simple. If we have two tables A and B, the cross product operation, what it actually performs is that it takes one row from A, table A, and one row from table B, and creates a new table having as many columns as A plus as many columns of B, and then makes it a full table. And it does for every element, every row of A and every row of B. And an example is that if we have a table R1 and table R2, table R1 contains 2 rows, and then table S1 contains 3. Table R1 contains 2 columns. Table S1 contains 3 columns. The cross product operation will result in 5 columns. This many columns plus this many columns, 5 columns, and then how many rows? It will be 2 into 3. Every possible row of A will be joined, joined with every possible row of B. So this is what is the way in which we'll look at this one. So from the computational perspective, I just wanted to walk you through how intensive this operation is. If we have a reasonable number of rows in the table, in this particular example 10 rows are there. Here also we have another table, 10 rows, and we have 7 columns here, 4 columns here. The moment you try to perform cross join, the way that you perform cross join is that you select all the columns from sailors, this table, cross join reserves table. So this is what is the SQL statement for that one. This statement will result in joining the first row of sailors with the first row of reserves. That will result in 7 columns with the column names retained as is, right? But you please remember that there are 2 columns having identical names. They will be renamed appropriately. We will not go into that detail as of now, but first let us go through by saying that, okay, this column, all these columns belongs to the sailors row, all these columns belongs to the reserves row. So now this operation execution for cross join will continue. The first row of the table sailors will be now joined with the second row of reserves. It will now have the cross join will have 2 records, 3 records, 4 records, and till you exhaust for the first record of first row of sailors, every other row of reserves has been joined that's when it will complete one partial computation, and it will move for next row of sailors and then perform the join operation for reserves. So which means that you will be having 10 rows, 10 additional rows for the record or row from the sailors to second row of sailors. Similarly, third row of sailors will have 10 more records. That is what is the cross join does. And then similarly, it will exhaust all the rows of sailors, joins with all the rows of reserves, which means that there will be 10 into 10, 100 rows will be there in this cross join operation with 7 columns. So this is what will be happening with respect to the cross join execution. So why you need this kind of operations is that you will see when some information that is present over here in the sailors table is not present in the reserves table and vice versa. And if you wanted to address a query that involves these two tables, you have no other option but to join these two tables using either cross join or join operations, whichever is appropriate. So cross join is most expensive operation in the SQL. Many times it is best avoid the cross join operation except for the queries that demand the cross join operations. So we will then what additional join operations, and let me just walk you through this one, that once you understand these cross join, join and variants of join operations, you are able to understand to a reasonable extent the querying methodology that actually works behind in terms of set operations in SQL realm. Otherwise, so far in your programming languages, you are used to looking at individual elements. Now this is the time where you will be looking at the data in terms of sets or bags or relations. So that is what is the main thing. So understanding of these operations are very, very important. So now we will proceed with the natural join operation. Cross product, we have understood that you take every row of sailors and then join with every other row of reserves. And then columns will be summed up. We have 7 columns in the resulting new table. So, however, there are no conditions on which this cross join has been performed. For the first time, we will see conditionally how to join them. It is equivalent to cross join, but much faster way of doing this one. This is called the natural join. And what this natural join does is that it will take the column names of the table 1 and table 2. With all the column names that are identical in both the tables, it will look for identical values under it. So in this particular example, there are 4 columns for the sailors table, 3 columns for the reserves table, but only 1 column is common to both sailors and reserves. That is sailors ID over here in this table, once again sailors ID in the reserves table. So what the natural join does is that it will join these 2 tables on sailors ID, both the tables. So the join condition is that whenever sailors tables in the sailors table SID value equal to reserves table SID value, only those rows will be part of this computation. And then let me just walk you through the same example that we take 1 row and then we will go through every other row of this reserves table. And then ask this question that in this row I pick up the sailors ID and in this row I will pick up the sailors ID, and I'm asked this question that is this condition valid or is this condition true. If it is, then it will be played as a part of the result set. So in this case, you will see that this one is sailor's ID over here and then sailor's ID over here are identical. So this will be part of this this natural join. And one more thing, since these two columns have identical values, one of the column will be dropped. So natural join will have only 6 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns. Why? Because there are only one column that is common. If there are more columns that are common, only one of the column instance will be retained and all other instances will not be part of, because they will produce redundancy. You have the sailor's ID and here also sailor's ID having identical values. So there is no need to retain this column altogether. It's also saving the space of the tables. So now we will go to the next iteration and then ask this question that is this row in the sailor's ID, sailor's row of the first table, and then reserves row in the second table, sorry, holds. If it is, then it's part of the natural join, and then this process will continue. So now we see that next time, so we have exhausted the first row with all the 4 rows of the reserves. Now we will come to the second row. Second row will not have any match. 29, sailor's ID 29 do not have any match with the any of the row of the reserves. So it will not be part of the the natural join. It will go to the next record or next row where this condition is meeting, and that will be part of it. So next 3 records of 31 sailor's ID will be joined with the reserves table, and that will be part of the natural join result set. And then 3258 will not be joined with the reserves table because there are no sailors who have reserved the boat 32 or 58. And then you see that 64 also have joined with that one, and then 74. So now there will not be no more records. So how many ever records that you have produced, is that as many as there are matches that are meeting this condition. In this particular example, exactly 10 records that meets this condition. So this natural join will produce 10 rows and 6 columns, which is much way efficient and faster in computation when compared to the cross join operation. And then the way that you perform the cross join operation, once again we'll see, select all the columns. So now you please look at this one. You do not need to mention the column names of both the tables. You are never mentioning them. You are saying that you select all the columns from sailors as well as reserves. So this is the strength of the while character that we have utilized, and then said that join these sailors records rows with the reserves records using cross join operation. So now this select natural join, what we are actually doing is that select star from sailors, natural join and reserves. So now you are not even specifying the condition. Please look at this one. See, the condition is implicit when we say natural join. This equality condition is implicit. And the dropping of the columns also will happen simultaneously the moment you use natural join. So there is so far we have looked at only one simple method of joining the 2 tables, that is based on the equality operation, and that too we do not have any control on which method of joining these 2 tables. It will pick up all the column names that are common to both the sailors and reserves, and then perform the join operation as and when this condition is satisfied. If there are more than one column, all such columns should be matching. See, another example is that if we have rating also over here in this reserves, sailor ID should be equal to sailor ID over here. Rating should be equal to rating over here, and the rating should be of sailors should be equal to rating of the reserves. So all of these things must adhere to the equality condition. As many columns are there and both the tables that are common to each other. So now we will look at the theta join, where you have a greater flexibility in specifying the condition that you wanted to specify. So in the natural join, condition is implicit. You are not specifying any condition. It will pick up. And the join name attributes are always joined with the equality condition itself. I mean, join attributes are picked up automatically. Condition is always equality. Any question? Okay, if there are no questions, we'll. So in the theta, what will happen is that. Yes? Hello?
So is it always necessary to use some join operation? Can't we work with foreign key?
No, as of now, foreign key, where it will come into picture?
If we are having two same identical columns in two tables, so we can use foreign key.
No. See, okay, let me just clarify that these are the table operations. The constraints are, we are not even looking at the constraints. Foreign key is a constraint that must adhere on the tables. Which of the tables? Either the sailors or the reserves. For example, if you say SID in the reserves is a foreign key that points to the sailor's SID, still it is a constraint. So whenever you are actually inserting one record in the reserves, it will check the presence of the particular SID in the sailors. For example, if I try to insert sailor's ID 101, reserved boat 102 on 9th September, it will first verify that is 101 sailor ID present in the sailors table. That is at the time of insertion, updation and deletion. But here what are that we are trying to do? We are trying to just trying to join two tables. So constraints will have no role to play.
Yes, sir, I got it.
Okay, perfect. So now we have looked at one simple implicit equality constraint in terms of natural join. However, if you wanted to place a flexible condition and flexible join columns, joining the columns, then we need to use theta join. So this notation of theta join is more from the relational algebraic notation. So that's why I'm actually bringing in. The moment it will, when we write the SQL query, theta word will not even appear. So we'll look at that one. For example, if you say that I do not want equality on sailor's ID and then reserve's ID, instead I want inequality conditions. So for example, in this example, we are trying to say that retrieve all the records in which sailor's ID in sailor, SID in sailors is always less than, strictly less than the sailor's ID in the reserves table. This is the join condition. And of course, these columns happen to be identical in the join condition. We will also give examples where column names need not be identical over here in the theta join. So the theta join is much more flexible in terms of need not be no need to have the constraint that the columns must be identical, column names must be identical, and their values must be identical. It need not be. We can be more flexible in terms of placing any conditional statement over here as long as the and then reserves table. So over here we will try to see that one. So the way that we go through is that so most thing is that it will try to look at first record, it will try to look at, and then try to join with the first row of the results table. On the condition that is 22 less than 22 in the results table, it will not meet the condition. It will also not meet this condition, but it will meet the condition over here. So that these two records will be joined in the with every row of the results table by looking at the truth value of this particular condition. If it is true, it will be part of the result set. So that will have. And then we will have all such records. And how many records? There will be as many records as there are this particular condition is satisfying, right? And if you look at in this particular table, this column and this column will adhere to this particular condition. So now we will look at is it always about specifying only on, I mean, can we just not select the records from the resulting? See, this is the table that results out of the join condition. It's from the resulting over here, resulting new table over here. And the way that we can filter is that, okay, in this particular result set, having, let us say, 23 records, 23 rows, you give me all the sailors whose rating is greater than 5. Records particular theta join itself. These records will be satisfied, these records will be satisfied, and which means that these particular records will be filtered out. And how you can actually specify that condition is that the join condition is this one, and the filter condition is using where class. And how we will place that one? So here is what I have, here is the condition. That select all the columns from the sailors, join reserves on the specified condition, and here is the filter condition where rating is greater than 9, greater than or equal to 9, which means that we will go to this table and ask this question that is rating in this, the join condition is same, identical, there is no issue. So only these 23 records are there. In addition, I wanted to filter the rows from within these 23, and what is the condition on which I am filtering? The rating must be greater than or equal to 9. So now I will go through once again in the result set, new result set, I will ask this question, is rating 9 greater than or equal to 9? No. So it will not be part of the result set. This also will not be part of the result set, and all of these records will not be part of the result set. And what will be the part of the result set? Only these 4 records whose rating is 10 will be part of the result set. That is exactly what we will be looking at. So now if you look at the condition that we are actually specifying is that sailor's ID in sailor's table must be less than or equal to results, sailor's ID in the results table, and sailor's rating of the sailors must be greater than or equal to 9 will be resulting in this particular thing. So now if you look at these two columns, they will be adhering to the join condition. And if you look at the rating, it will adhere to this filtering condition, where class, in the where class that you actually specified that one. Any questions?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, in this operation, we can also specify, we can also do natural join and then specify where sailor's ID dot SID is less than reserve's ID.
Yes. So what, see here the condition is what is important, but the filtering can be done on your own terms. For example, over here is a natural join, And you can filter that to give me all the sailors whose age is greater than 30 or whose age is greater than 45. Then only these records will be selected. Right? So what his question is that in this result set, having 10 columns, 10 rows and then 6 columns, can we specify the filtering condition? Yes, you can. Can you use where clause? Yes, you can.
So which operation will be cheaper in both of these two?
No. See, the ways in which you use equality operator versus inequality operator depends on the query. It is not our flexibility. See, these are the operations that are at our disposal. It is like union, it is like intersection. Where do I use union? Where do I use intersection? It depends on the query. If you say that, okay, give me a list of all the students who have registered for CS101 as well as CS102, then you will perform union operation. If you say that, give me all the electrical engineering students who have, and give me electrical engineering students who have created CS102, and give me chemical engineering students who have created 102, you will perform intersection on the department. Right? So it depends on which operations that you will pick given the query. But these are operators that you have at your disposal. You will compose these operators depending on the query that you will be receiving.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Right. So we will go through many examples of natural join, theta join, and in other forms of join. Okay. So this is where we will. So this filtering condition also we have discussed. Okay, fine. So now the other join operations which are very much important is what is called as left outer join and right outer join and then full join. We'll look at those definitions. What the left outer join? First we'll look at left outer join. What it does is that, let me just go through the natural join. See here, I have joined the first record with the first 4 records of first 4 rows of resource table. Then second row of sailors table do not have any matching record that results in this condition to be true. Sailors ID equal to resource ID for second row will not be true for any of these rows in the resource table because sailor ID 29 has not reserved any boat. So now this will not be part of the natural join operation. That is called the dangling record. So they will not be part of the natural join. Okay. Now if you wanted to retain them explicitly, you will use left join left or right join operations. Okay. All such dangling rows should be part of the join operations. Then we will use left or right or full join operations. We'll look at that one, but what the definition we will go through that one. First, let me just go through the definition. So, for the left outer join operation, we first perform natural join operation. In addition, those rows that are dangling rows will be added to the result. Some example, and same example we will run through. We will say that what is the meaning of left outer join and right outer join. Let us say in this particular example, sailors left outer join right reserves. So I have in this particular sequence, sailors is coming first as the first table. So it is occurring to the operator outer join to the left side of it. So sailors table is the left table and then reserves table is the right table, and then since if it is a left outer join, all the dangling tuples that are there in the sailors will be part of this computation. We'll look at that one. Part of the natural will be placed as is. Now you look at the second row of the sailors table. There is no matching record in the results table. Still, I will pull that record into the result set. Now, match place null values in the under the columns that are there in the results table in the result set. I repeat this procedure for every other pair of records. So I will have 31 matching as in the case of natural join, so I do not need to worry about. But 32 does not match, so I will place null values. I will pull this record, entire record over here. All the 4 columns will be part of the new table. All the 4 columns of the sailors of 32 Andy rating 8 and then 25.5 will be part of the result set. Since there is no matching record over here, what values to fill? We will fill with null values. So that is what is the thing, and then it will continue. So 58 there is no matching record, so it will place null records. 64 it actually has matching record. 74. And then once again 85 and 95 do not have a matching record. So I will retain, what it means is that I will retain all the natural join records. In addition, I will pull the dangling records and then pad null values in the absent columns. Absent columns is in the values you cannot find them, so you fill with null values. Any questions? Okay. So we'll go through same example, one more example. Values. Now you look at table U and table V has 2 common columns. U, BC in V. Match. Right, those 2 records will be pulled in over here, and then the second and third record of U will not be matched with the table V. Still, they will be put as a part of the result set. Okay. So now look at the right outer join. Exact reverse thing. Instead of dangling records from the left table, we will place the, after you perform the natural join, you pull the right hand side tables dangling records into the result set. So here I will take the first record in V and then perform the natural join operation, that is results in this one. I will go to the next record of V and then perform the natural join with this one. And then try to see if 6, 7, 12 has no matching record. So I will pad null records, null values in the resulting right outer join. Right. So now full outer join, what it does is that it combines simply both the left outer join and right outer join with union operation. So what it means is that it actually, so this is first 4 records are part of the left outer join, and then this one is part of the right outer join, and they will all be unioned to get this particular thing. Right. So let me just kind of take a minute break over here and then see if there are any questions. Because understanding of these operations or operators is very, very important in answering the questions that are posed to your databases. You have already seen in your lab sessions, the kind of queries that can be attracted towards database. It is still a single table involving only operations that are involving only single table. Now if there are multiple tables, all these operations are composed in order to answer the question that is posed to the database. Any questions here?
Sir, how null values can come in both the left and right part in just the previous slide?
Here. This one?
Yes,
This-
sir, this one.
It is full outer join. Full outer join definition is that you perform first left outer join on table A, left outer join table B. Then you perform right outer join on the same two tables, and then perform the union operation. So what it means is that first four records are part of the left outer join. Second, the last row is part of the right outer join. So that will be the part. And then here I have to say that it's a full outer join. It's not left outer join. I will change the slides. Right? It's full outer join. And this one, once again, full outer join is not implemented in MySQL. You can, why? Because MySQL implemented left outer join and right outer join, and then you can construct full outer join using this operation, this particular operation. So left outer join will retain the records of the rows of the left table, all the rows of the left table, and dangling records are tied with null values. That is why on the right hand side you have null values. And the result of the right outer join is that it will pad all the rows with the, sorry, all the columns with the null values that are having dangling rows.
Yes, sir, I got it. Sir, one more doubt I am having on the theta join. So can you open that slide?
Okay.
So here, instead of writing that on sailors.id less than reserve.id, we can use the two conditions in where clause, and we can use and statement there. Can we do that?
See, the way that you can actually perform this joining is first and foremost thing is that you have to specify the reserved word join. Which tables you are joining, you have to specify them. First and foremost. If you don't specify, it will specify comma, what it will have, it will perform is that it will perform cross product implicitly. If you say sailors star, no, select star from sailors comma reserves, where sailors ID less than or equal to reserves SID, first and foremost it will perform cross product. And you have 100 records in the cross product, right? And then it will perform the where condition. You will not get the identical answers.
Yes, sir, I got it.
Okay. So once we have understood all these join operations, let me just, where is that table for me? Okay, let me just, one slide may be missing, earlier I had noted. Anyway, now, by now you must have understood that select will only read the tables and then display on your terminal or the web browser. You have seen that one. And in your lab examples also you have seen that all the queries that you have performed on select, they resulted in a table that is being displayed only on the terminal, and then this table will not be stored at all. Right? But can you store these resulting tables back onto the disk? So they are not first of all part on the disk, can you first of all store them onto the disk? And then can you rename these columns on the fly? We will see this one. And then this is very, very important. I mean, even though these are kind of notational syntactic flavors, you will see that they are heavily used in the MySQL world or SQL world in particular. See, over here, what is it that we wanted to do is that we are performing join operation on table A and table 1 and table 2 with the condition that table 1's B value should be equal to table 2's B value, and we wanted to filter some records on this condition. But the resulting new table, we want the column names to be not A, B, B, D, instead A1, B1, B2, D1. The way that we do is that we use identical thing, and there will not be any syntactic difference between from, join, on and in where. It is only at the time of select we will rename the column A to A1 by specifying the as clause, saying that A as A1, which means that it will give me a new table whose column name is A1 instead of A. It will retain the data type. It will not change the data type. It will only rename the column name. Similarly, table 1's B column will be renamed as B1. Table 2's B column will be renamed as B2, and table 2's D column will be renamed as D1. So that is what is the thing. Seemingly very simple, where it will kind of lead to very interesting scenarios is what the same as operator we can use for creating tables. We'll also look at that one. Give me a minute, I'll go through some examples as well. But in this particular thing, we can create tables using select operator or select statement. Select statement. So if you look at this select statement, it will just create a table and then throw on your terminal. It will not store it. But if you wanted to store the resulting table, new table, back onto the disk, what is the statement that you have to use is create table statement only. We all know about it. So the way that we do is that we enclose the select statement inside the create table statement. So we say that create table result, table's name is result, and whose schema or whose column names are as follows, and whose records are from table 1 and table 2, and all the resulting records will be part of the result table. That is how we kind of see. For the first time you try to include one query inside another query. Create a table is a statement, and within that statement you are including one more statement. Very simple, but yet effective. Once again, we are seemingly syntactic. We will see their utilities as we go along. So now we will continue with the select statement and then see how to kind of use it at various queries, and see we will be gradually increasing the complexity, and then once we have understood how to compose these operators, we are good to go. Then we will take a very steep dive into the actual features of the SQL or the functionalities of SQL, how to work with SQL on a reasonably real world data and then real world query examples. That we will actually look at that one. Still, these are all the textbook example queries that we are kind of looking at it. So if you say that I have given only sellers table, and then ask this question that give me all the sellers, say that in every rating at least 2 or more sellers are there, at least 2 sellers are there. The way, so group by rating such that each group has at least 2 sellers. That is what is the query. Give me all the ratings in which each rating at least has 2 sellers. And here we can quickly identify that rating 1 has only 1 seller. Similarly, rating 9 has only 1 seller. right? How we wanted to do is that we group by rating, which means that we have 2 7s over here, 2 8s over here, 2 10s over here, and so on and so forth, and group by rating, and then having class we have not looked at so far. For the first time we will do that one. Having, what it will do is that it will go to each group and then perform the operation, the condition that you want. So having is a class that will always associate with the group by operator. So in each group, it will test the condition that is specified in the having clause. So in this particular having clause, what we are essentially saying is that the number of ratings within the group 7 is it greater than 1. Over here, yes, it is greater than 1. It is test 2 ratings. So it will place the rating 7 as 1. It will pull this group. It will pull this group in the result set. Now it will visit the rating group 1. Now test this condition. Is this rating equal to 1 has more than one number? In this one it has actually exactly one number. So it will not be part of the result set. It will go to, which means that it will go to every group and then test this condition. If this condition is true, those groups will be part of this result set. Okay. So here we can compose the filtering techniques also. In this one particular group, we will say in the resulting table, you filter it by specifying age is greater than or equal to 30. So this particular row will be this particular group will not be part of the result set in this particular, the moment you say this one. Fine. So now we will see that where in select class we have seen that 6 classes are there. And so far we have used 1 class, 2 classes, 3 classes are subset of these classes. But can there be any queries that will that ask us to use all the 6 classes at the same time? Yes, there are queries. So the query is that here it is saying that give me all the records in the Scilars. In each group, such that group by rating, such that in each group there are at least at least 2 members, and the age of the member is greater than 20, and order by name. So what we are trying to do is that first we will try to group this table according to rating, and then test this condition. So we have this particular result set, and then filter out by specifying the age condition. We'll take out irrelevant records or the record that does not meet this condition, and then order by the name. So depending on the query, you will be composing all these classes as it is demanding. Any questions?
So can we specify the condition which is written in having within the where statement, like 2 conditions, and using the AND rule? What is the use of having then?
Oh no, having will go visit each group. See, see there are groups over here. When we say group by, see here is what you have to logically think. See, where condition, what it will do is it will go to every record. It will not go to every group. Whereas having will test for each group whether this condition, whatever the condition that you are specifying is meeting. Once that is met, that is part of the result set, then where condition will be applied onto the result table and resulting table, and the order by will be placed and will be applied, and then all the columns will be retrieved.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So if there are any questions, we'll take it. Otherwise, we'll take these correlated nested queries and correlated nested queries in the next week class.
Hello, sir.
Any questions?
Good morning, sir.
Yes, yes. Who is this?
Sir Shashwat, I just wanted to ask, can you give an idea of the questions that will come in the quiz?
Whatever that has been discussed in the context of the lecture that we have looked at, that is what is part of that.
Okay, sir. Sir, I mean, will there be subjective questions or objective questions?
No, it will be multiple choice questions only.
Okay, sir.
It will be through Microsoft Forms,
Okay, sir.
and it will be within the lecture class timing.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So we will not have a class tomorrow. Instead, we will have an exam.
Sure, sir.
Any other question? Okay, sure. Thank you. If there are no questions, yes, please, please.